This is Loudspeaker.
Hi, and welcome to Connecting a Better World, where we spend time meeting some of the most incredible human beings who make this world a better place. We will learn how each individual took their ideas, mission, and purpose to create and serve others in business and organizations that surround social good, social entrepreneurship, and social impact, and find out how we, together, can further connect others to help. I am your host, Dr. Natalie Phillips. Today, I will be talking with Kelly Keurzoneff, founder and president of Givelist for Good, a nonprofit organization, and founder and CEO of Givelist, a universal wish list and all-purpose online gift registry, allowing users to connect and contribute to one another's lives simply and easily. Givelist also provides a vehicle for more direct and transparent giving of items to those in need or nonprofit organizations. So Kelly, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining me. We had made a quick connection on a new social media app called Clubhouse, and it's been so amazing to meet people that way and learn just a little bit about them. But I'm so excited to spend some time with you today and learn more about what you're doing. So, tell me more about yourself and some of your background leading up to what you created with Givelist.
Sure. And thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate you taking the time to check us out and learn a little bit more. And I'm happy to share the story. So I grew up in a small town in Indiana. So I have kind of that Midwest upbringing. And then I moved to North Carolina, went to school there. And then I lived in Los Angeles. I was doing marketing and advertising. So I think that's kind of where I'm at as far as my expertise. But I moved away from Los Angeles and came back to North Carolina for a little bit. And when I did that, it was really hard. I was starting my life over. I was kind of starting a new chapter, and I was leaving behind everything that I had built for 10 years in Los Angeles and loved. But it was time to try to do something different. And at the same time, so many of my friends and even family were getting married and having babies. And what I found myself consistently doing was going to registries and buying things. And I was like, wow, this is super simple and easy. It's the easiest thing ever. I'm so happy that I get them what they want. But at the same time, it's a little heartbreaking because, I have walked away from a situation where would have been potentially my wedding and my children. And so, I'm thinking to myself, I bet there are people out there that, really would like to have their milestones celebrated or feel that they're surrounded and uplifted by community, whatever that might look like. Maybe you adopted a puppy, or maybe you've got a job and you're super excited. These are things that we don't celebrate enough. And to have a registry for something, let's say you move into a new house or something, people can kind of bless you with their support by sending unexpected gifts. And so that's where the kind of idea started. I became super passionate about it a little bit further down the road because I ended up kind of getting concerned about the natural disasters that were taking place. And I was like, wow, I've seen and I've volunteered for places before, and I've seen them receive items they didn't need, while at the same time being desperate for certain things. And so I was like, this whole list of universal registry thing could be so powerful to people who really need specific things and not others. And so, I really didn't think about creating this myself. I just wanted to know why it didn't exist. I wanted to suggest it to someone. I wanted to find out how I could make this happen. After a while of just kind of seeing the need continuously, I was like, I'm going to move on this, and I did some market research, and I got such favorable responses from people. And I think the thing that kind of finally pushed me into taking it on was I lost my very dear friend of 27 years to cancer. And while she was going through that, there were people trying to help her, but she didn't necessarily have the strength or, the ability to continually have conversations with people about what was needed. So having a central area where people could go and say, hey, this is what she's requesting. She needs backpacks for the kids because they're starting up school, and she's a single mom now, and she, so anyways, the compelling reason became more and more so until I was like not sleeping, until I was like, I have to make this thing exist. So that's where we're at. Is I've been working on it now for 3 years. And it's been self-funded. I have been kind of trying to find a frugal way to do it. Like I said, at first, I didn't want to fully embrace the idea of being an entrepreneur. I was like, this is scary. Who knows if I can do it? But yeah, we're here now.
That's so interesting. Okay, so yeah, that was one of my questions was, how long have you been doing this? The other thing too is, I'm thinking about the lists, and when people, and we can walk into, how everything works, because I'd love to learn a little bit more about it. But, as you kind of tell me about how Givelist, as well as Givelist for Good, so I want you to kind of walk into that part, the nonprofit part as well. But how does it work? Like, how does somebody actually set up a wish list? And then when you go and, like, let's say I'm somebody that wants to give a gift off of their wish list, where does that take me? Is it all housed within the same area, or does that take me to the actual store where they have the gift list, or however it is? So walk me through how, let's say, let's not go into Give List for Good. We'll get there. But let's say how just somebody makes a wish list, and how somebody gives to that wish list as well.
Right. So we are in the middle of kind of wrapping up that MVP. And so in the meantime, we don't have that many resources to put toward the development. And so we're trying to find the most minimal way to test how people are going to use it, so we can build to what they need, instead of build something and then maybe they use it or maybe they don't. That's a waste of our resources and their time. But so what we have right now for the MVP is very simple, and the tool that is coming will be very simple. It's simply go in, make a profile, and you can add things to your list via a browser extension from anywhere you might be, or you can bring in things from existing lists. And then, for the person who's on the other side, the other user would be searching that person or searching even a general cause, and find that list and then purchase something off of it. The address is already saved on the back end, so they don't have to know an address, which in itself is very helpful. And the person gets the gift and can go back and forth and, kind of be more transparent about, hey, thank you so much. I can share my story. There's a space for that. Some of those features are not currently what you see. We don't have the ability yet for people to go in, or we haven't released the ability yet for people to go in and create their profiles, because we don't have that back end fully built. And so if people were to start creating those wish lists, it would start getting a little crazy. And so that speaks to the next piece, which is kind of managing that. We don't warehouse anything. We don't, do much. It's extremely simple. We're just a marketplace making that match of where people can go and say, oh, this is exactly what's needed. So they would essentially be, transacting with us, but it would be Target, or it would be, Best Buy, or whatever it might be. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. And so then let's walk into Give List for Good, because is that what is on the website right now with the nonprofit organizations? Okay. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit more about that as well.
Yes. Okay. So in the beginning, what I was mentioning about, seeing natural disasters and wanting to help in that space, I am so passionate about it. I've worked for nonprofits for my entire life. I mean, I would ride my bike when I was 6 years old to the food bank, I'm sorry, 6th grade. Let's not get crazy. But as I was 6th grade, I would ride, and it's been important to me. So the ability to help out nonprofits is almost primary to me. And so, yes, I want this to be something that builds and uplifts community, but if nonprofits need our resources, I want it to go there. And they also have, dedicated audiences who want to help and understand that if our product isn't fully built yet, they're helping us to build it for them. And so it's not like having a user who's like, hey, what is this? We want there to be like a conversation and a community process. We want community ownership, and we want community, involvement in building. And so Givelist, being the tool where you can create the lists and get the things, allows nonprofits to create their list and individuals to create their list. So you're already doing good in that way. But Givelist for Good is a nonprofit where we also add in the capability of saying, donate gifts in kind. So I have a ton of computers that we are no longer using, which actually happened at one of my jobs. Who needs those? Where do they need to go? And the reason that it's nonprofit is because, shipping and logistics, it has to be covered in some way. We do have some, revenue models to hopefully cover for that, because we really want this to be effective for people. But so that's the work that we're highlighting right now. We want people using it who aren't going to be disappointed that it's not fully built out. We want people who are going to say, hey, this is what I would love to see. And as a bonus, they're getting what they need for themselves or for their organizations to help them. So that's kind of where we're focused at the moment.
Yeah, and I think that what's really cool about it too, because I was checking it out. I was a board member. Well, I am a board member, but I recently left for 4 different nonprofit boards. And one of the things that we were, struggling with was telling our story, and then also making sure that the nonprofit was running. So with just little things like staples and, all kinds of little things.
Absolutely.
And file folders, right? And everything like that. And so at one point we had the nonprofit founder give the board members just a list of stuff. And we all went out on Amazon and just shipped it over to her house, right? So it's very, very similar. But at the same time, it was the board members also doing that for her. So the part that I absolutely love, and that I was drawn into when I was looking at your website too, is you help those nonprofits tell their stories. You give them that space, that platform where they can tell their stories. So it doesn't have to be the board members that are also, providing these supplies or whatever their needs are, but people that are looking at this site, they can learn about nonprofits and learn about their stories. And more people are more likely to give, I believe, when they actually know the story and not just like, oh yeah, okay, I kind of get it. So sure, I have some extra money here and there. But when you can actually identify and connect with the story, I think that helps a lot. And I love that you're giving nonprofits this platform. So, I interview a lot of nonprofits, and if they're listening, how do they apply? I don't know if it's an application process, or how do they get where they can get their nonprofit listed and start a list?
Yes, we are so excited to have that up soon. What we've been doing is just taking the lists that people send us, and putting them in ourselves, and then promoting those with our users and with people within our network. And we haven't promoted any of this. This is all kind of under the radar. It's been just kind of we're testing use, but we've had so many people respond so well, and want to help and what you said about being transparent and seeing the process in the story, it's also being involved in the story, right? So there was a person who, one of the unhoused people who has lost a tool that they used to make their money, right? It was stolen. And so to replace that tool so that they could, it's a tattoo artist, but to replace that tool so that they could continue to make money. Because here's the thing about the unhoused population in Charlotte. The tent city has grown since COVID. And there are people getting up from their tent and going to work in the morning and then returning home to that where it's 30 and 40 degrees at night and going to sleep and then doing work in the morning again. And, I can't fathom that situation. I can. I don't want it to be the case. We've had a lot of interest and a lot of people very excited about those specific needs, covering those specific needs, and helping people kind of get back on their feet out of a situation. And one of the great things that you said was that most nonprofits are just born and driven on passion. And so you've got these people who will find anything and turn it into something to use. They're so scrappy, they're so resourceful. You've got people who are like, I could use some paper, some printer paper, and that's the kind of needs that they need fulfilled. And there are people out there that don't understand that, and it's like, we could use our money for bigger, like, helping people to pay their rent or help, bigger things if we had these things that people throw away. And I've moved twice out of big corporate offices. And when we left, the things that were left behind, it was painful to see, chairs and couches, whiteboards. I think of teachers who have to buy all their own supplies, highlighters, endless amounts of paper, filing cabinets, plants. And so, finding a way to connect the people with the need to the people who have the thing, and just make it super efficient. I mean, it's not rocket science. We're just telling the story and letting people respond.
But
So
that's
yeah.
the best thing, though. Yeah. Is that you saw a need and you saw a solution to fill that need, right? And that's what it's all about. So, I kind of want to back up just for a second because I love asking this question too. And, looking back at your life, did you have a role model or somebody that inspired you to have this heart to give back?
That's so interesting. So I had a relatively rocky start. My parents were very young when they had me, I think like 16 and 17. And so there was a lot of kind of just growing up and figuring it out on my own. And I love them. I have no, but there were a lot of hard times. And so I think the person that kind of shone through for me was my grandmother. And she was, Irish immigrants. She was just very, I think they were like potato farmers or something. And she's just very down to earth. She lived through the Depression. There's not a thing you would look at her and be like, why don't you need anything for yourself? She just didn't. And so she found a way to be complete and to be happy with just every day. And her focus was on including and uplifting everybody around her. And, that was one of actually my role models for inclusion as well, because she was always protecting if there was a situation where there was like an underdog or there was someone not being heard, she would specifically create space for that. And that was really, really important to me because at some point in all of our lives, we really need that. And we need someone to do it on our behalf. And her desire to hear someone, uplift them, supply and give support to them, really, really was probably the thing that influenced me. And her happiness just having not a lot, because if you're not striving to have things, you're concerned about relationships and your community. She was community, so
Yeah,
probably her.
absolutely. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. For people who are listening and they'd love to help you push the needle forward, it sounds like you're still building a lot, and I
Yes.
don't know if you need a lot of help. Like what kinds of help would you need at this point?
Right. So I think that we are starting to put together an advisory board. And we recently realized that there is an entire group of people out there that are impact investors and that, look for the difference that's being made. When I first started kind of pitching this a little bit, I've never really fully pitched it out there, but I've kind of told people about it. And the people that I was speaking to, like, they kind of didn't get it. And then I spoke to some people who, were interested in impact, and they were like, wow, because the idea is you make money and you are profitable and you make returns for people, but you put that all back out into the community. And what's so important about that is that not only does it strengthen the community, but you get better returns. Your profits are better, your employees are happy, things are so sustainable. And so I'm really excited about some of the moves that are being made in that for benefit and B Corp and public benefit corporation, all of that, conscious capitalism. I recently just started learning that was a really like a thing that has momentum, and I couldn't be more excited. So the people in that space, I would like to start connecting with more to understand. I'm kind of interested in finding out the metrics and how it's being measured, how that impact is being measured, and what's important to people. I have kind of a little bit of like a scholarly interest in this space and the social space, and so an advisory board would be incredible to start speaking with people who could really just help us figure out how to be super impactful and continue what we're doing in a business sense. To
Awesome.
just
That's good to
move
know.
forward. Yeah.
Okay, great. And I don't know since you're fairly on the new side, but do you have any stories or have anything that just pushes you to keep going to give back this way?
Oh yeah. I mean, I have so many stories because even prior to Givelist, I was doing nonprofit. And so you just don't know until you're there experiencing it, how heartwarming and how much you get back from the interactions where you are part of a community. And, that's probably amplified for me because I love community. Like that's my favorite thing is building community. And so when I go and I see people respond and look you in the eye and tell you thank you, and it's so heart, it's like recharging a battery. But I will say, like in specific stories, I think the one most recently that stands out, we have been working with Block Love is the name of the organization, Uptown Charlotte. And if I can give a shout out, Miss Deborah, who runs Block Love, okay, when we decide who to support, we find people who are out there and who are doing it and who are effective and really know what they're doing, love what they're doing, are in that because their heart is in it. She has been out since the pandemic started every single day, bringing breakfast and hot lunches and dinner, and so we've taken a couple carloads of hygiene items that were donated, and people were donating purses to kind of give to the ladies and like filling them with things, food, hot food. We've gone down and done that, but she has been there, and she even recently they wrote up, I think in one of the city papers or something, they were saying, if you want to be effective in Tent City, talk to her because she knows. And here's the story I'm going to tell you as to why. So we were down there one day and handing out, some food. And I haven't even been able to interact as much as I want, and I'm already still blown away with what they've done. But we're handing out some food, and the woman beside me was like, oh, hey, he doesn't get that because he's diabetic. And I was like, they know the people they're serving. They look out for these people that they previously didn't know. And so now it's family. And that is so strong and so important because there's a lot of things. And there's other stories of it as well where, someone got a donation, but it was the note that was attached that made them tear up. Or it's the connection of knowing your community supports you. It's the connection of knowing that someone's out there literally taking their time and reaching out their hand, and they're going to, make sure you're okay. And so the personal connection more than anything else is what matters. And so we want to support organizations that really are out in it. They know who they're serving. They're helping them from a soul and family capacity, as much as possible. And so I have so many stories, but Deborah, the recent one is that she's just really, really shining out there. So.
And I see that, it's such a nice, like what you said, a connection to the community. But, I see this, I can't wait till it's so much bigger where a lot of people can make connections in their own communities. I know it's really easy to start where you are because that's where your heart wants to help out first. Right. Mm-hmm. And so mm-hmm. I love that you're making it strong there first, and that you're going to, hopefully build it out to be a little bit bigger. And I think that it will, because it's such a great opportunity for both. Well, not just, I'm always thinking about the nonprofit side, but even the mm-hmm. other side where you were saying in the beginning that not a lot of people think about, like if you're going through cancer treatment or teachers, mm-hmm. Even I know teachers can make Amazon gift lists, but yes. That's all.
And they have donors
you
choose
have to yes. on Amazon, right? And it's not
exactly.
Everything that they really want, but they're trying to find something because that's one of the places that you can do that.
Right.
But, right. Opening it up to so many other vendors or, other areas that can be resources for people who actually need it. And they don't have to, especially teachers. Teachers are huge, but yes. They don't have to dig in their own pockets because they will, right? To mm-hmm. be able to provide everything mm-hmm. possible. This is just so exciting to learn about this so early on. And it's going to be such an incredible, I'm going to have you back on when you're like,
I can't wait. I cannot wait. I would love that so much. Our whole thing is just supporting the people who are doing these amazing things already. And, those people are the glue. It's exactly like what you said. And these are the things they're doing can't be measured. You don't know that one person and that one conversation changed the trajectory of someone's life, or you don't know. And that has happened. We have millions of stories of that. But you don't know that without this service in their life, things would be way different and might spread into the rest of the community and be a problem there. So it's like, these are the unsung heroes. You've got, people being paid not very much to do incredibly important jobs for our society. And so uplift them, support them. One of the things really quick is the teacher list for Donors Choose. It's, you buy something for the classroom, and for Amazon wish lists, it's actually really difficult sometimes to find the things you want on Amazon. I know that's really strange because they've convinced us they have everything under the sun, and they've done a great job marketing that. But I've gone to make a couple lists, and I'm like, wait, there are a lot of things you can't find. So what I thought was really cute was that someone in Fort Wayne, which is where I'm from, made some Amazon lists that were for teachers, and they were kind of like, you could put personal things on there like, hey, I would really like to get my nails done. Like I need a spa day break. And especially like in COVID, it's like there's so much going on and people are just trying to, be nice to each other and help out. And it's okay kind of to say, like, I need a little help. I need a little break. And so, providing something for people, just mental wellness, and just saying, hey, and this is the thing, unexpected kindness.
Yeah.
One of the most impactful things is just not knowing somebody out there was going to do that, not expecting anything, not knowing, but they just drop a blessing on you, and that changes your whole day. And it's happened to me, and I'm just, I was in tears. Just someone, I ran to my car because I didn't have enough money. I came back, they had paid for it already, and I was just like, oh my God, and it's really just knowing that there's social capital. We hear all of this bad news so often, and it takes us 3 times to hear good news to kind of recover from the bad things, because we fixate on that bad news, because it's a threat. So just more and more of this. We are a community. We support each other. Let's do this, and I just cannot wait until that is something that's being highlighted and supported, because it's easy. This is not a hard thing.
I talk to a lot of, heart-led, service-led entrepreneurs, and, we joke that, yes, you're going to come back when you are global, and it's going to be so much fun to see where this went. But, I know deep down inside, and for me anyway, and I don't know if it's like this for you, but I'm always of the mindset of, you know what, if it just reaches or helps one person, done. Like, I would do it, and
right.
And it's worth it. And so you already have done that. I mean, in your community. So it's like check mark done. You could walk away at this point, right? So it's just so amazing to hear that you're doing that. And it's going to be exciting, like I said, to watch your journey as well.
Thank you.
So, I always like to still, ask another question, because you're out there doing it, and, you've got so much experience, so much wisdom in your own, space and area. But you being an entrepreneur and somebody that started a nonprofit organization, what might be one piece of advice that you can share with my listeners that are tuning in about just how they can make this world a better place?
Wow. Yeah. So, I recently, and I actually hear this a lot, like, you can't help everyone. But it's just like what you just said. If you help one person who then goes on to help 20 people, or goes on to help another person who helps 20 people, because the way I see it is this, I used to be a server, and when I would get tips, I realized, like, a lot of people were in the middle of the road. Some people were terrible, and some people were incredible. And the incredible people made up for almost all the rest of anything else that happens. And I feel that in society, that's a lot of that as well. You've got these people that are bad actors, and they do the majority of really bad things. And there's a lot of people who are right in the middle, and they just live their lives, and they're just trying to be the best they can. And then you've got these people who are just so dedicated to fixing and healing and rebuilding, and they are the builders, the creators, the connectors. If you support those people in what they're doing, you're amplifying the good. Like, it's extraordinary. So to find those people and highlight those people and help them do that work, it's exponential what you can do. So I guess what I'm saying is, always do the thing where you're helpful, because, like you said, you have no idea how many people from that will benefit. Even if just that one person, that's worth doing. And where your heart leads you, just follow that. And a lot of people give advice all of the time. You should be doing this. You should be doing that. Da, 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 da. And I find that in this space, you are what you understand from inside you, the giving that you feel, that's part of who you are, and that's directed by a certain sense of purpose. However it got there, follow that, trust your instincts, keep going, and know, each single day, helping anybody that you can throughout that day is going to spread massive good, so that's a long-winded answer, but
Oh my gosh, I love it. And I love the way you explained it too. And you're so humble too, because you're right. I mean, you're right. There's so many people giving advice here and there. I love to hear advice, because I'm always, I'm like a sponge. So I like to take it all in. But I love the way that you explained it. And I love, in fact, I love it because it's kind of like the butterfly effect or the ripple effect, but it was in your own words. And I love that, whatever that you have inside that makes you have this kind of drive to do it, to just get out and do it. So I love that.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate your time a lot, and I'm so excited, like I said, to watch how this unfolds and to learn about what's out there and what you're growing. And thank you so much for what you're doing.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. I appreciate you. I love the sign in the back, be the good. Keep please doing what you're doing. It's amazing. You're highlighting the voices, and that's what we need. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Connecting a Better World, and thank you, NOCO FM, for supporting this show. If you connected to something in this episode, we would love to hear from you. Our contact info will be listed in the show notes, as well as you can reach us on our social media channels. Please feel free to share our podcast with your friends and loved ones. For more shows, please tune in to noco.fm online.
This is Loudspeaker.